Hey guys, first of all, I hope everybody is staying healthy and well and staying home at least until Friday. I just wanted to say that I have really enjoyed this semester and getting to know some of you through your posts and comments, and I appreciated your feedback, and I am very excited that this is our last assignment. So anyhow, I chose to do developing self-reliant people and communities as my final project, and I am doing the non-government organization of Hope for the Homeless. And yes, so the homeless population is obviously the population that I chose. While there are lots and lots of agencies that are currently out there dedicated to getting rid of homelessness for good, it's just still a regenerating problem for us as a society. And on any given night, there's at least 500,000 Americans succumbing to homelessness. The homeless population is all-encompassing. It's centrally comprised of unemployed individuals living below the poverty level, suffering from mental illness, as well as drug and alcohol addictions. And during a crisis like this that we're going through right now, homeless people have limited resources as it is, and during a crisis like this, where people who have jobs and are considered middle class and they're losing their jobs and they're needing resources and they're having a hard time paying their bills, it's putting resources for the homeless even more scarce than they would be before and at an increased risk. So that's the population that I have chosen. Hope for the Homeless is the organization that I have created, and the mission statement for my organization is: Hope for the Homeless is dedicated to providing people experiencing homelessness with a stable housing environment, including regular and sufficient sustenance, as well as a compassionate team to offer support and the tools needed to treat mental illness and addiction. We believe in the rehabilitation and reintegration of homeless individuals into society. Humanity will prevail for a brighter tomorrow. Let's see. So the main focus of my organization is threefold. It's to provide safe and secure housing, to provide nutritional food, as well as to treat mental illness and or drug and alcohol abuse. So first up with housing, I looked at the Utah Housing First project that began in 2005. It was very successful and looked to by other states as far as because it was so successful. And the idea behind it was getting people into homes first before treating mental illness or other things that could be dealt with afterwards, getting them into a home, having them feel secure first. And I really like that philosophy. It's not continued here in Utah right now. It ran out of funding. So I wanted to use that as a basis for my model, but I knew that I would have to have cheaper housing, more affordable housing as a nonprofit agency to be able to make this work. So what I did, or what we do for housing, is a tiny house community of 30 homes. The houses are 8 by 12 foot. They include one electrical outlet, one electric light, a smoke detector, a window, and a locking door. The community would also include a common area with a kitchen, internet service, laundry, bathroom, showers, and a counseling services office. The requirements for admission would be that each resident would have to give 10 volunteer hours per week to help out the community. And this would also help cut the cost of maintenance for the community. So they would have to do that, and then also attend a weekly community meeting, because part of this whole housing thing and doing the tiny housing community, and keyword community, is that these people share something in common and they can relate to one another in certain ways that not all people can. And so for them to be able to have that sense of community, people understand where they're coming from. I think that is a building block that they need to have as far as starting to feel comfortable in the home, feeling safe and feeling secure, having that security of people who know where they're coming from. Housing logistics. So each unit costs roughly $2,500 for supplies and labor, and hopefully, if we could get labor volunteered, that would be great, through churches, schools, just individuals that want to come out and volunteer. A village can require between 6,000 and 30,000 square feet of land, and that would require us to have a familiarity with any publicly owned surplus sites or private, nonprofit, or church-owned properties. Donation of land would be awesome, best case scenario, but obviously we would look for other funding for the village. It could come from donations from corporations, businesses, churches, individual donations, and of course, if needs be, government grants and funding could be applied for as well. Food. I think that nutrition is huge, and sorry, lost my spot. It's a basic human necessity, and unfortunately not everyone is afforded the basic human necessities, especially the homeless population. Hunger and malnutrition are key components, actually, and scientifically linked to mental illness. And so it is of utmost importance, after we get their housing secured, that we make sure that they are fed regularly and nutritiously. So we can do this by partnering with places like the Utah Food Bank, local grocery store chains. They have like an overflow, or like they call it grocery rescue. So some of the stuff that is getting ready to be expired, you can have that food to give to the residents, as well as local restaurants. So anyhow, those things can help us provide sustaining nutrition for the residents of our tiny home community. And again, more resources for food. Partner with restaurants such as Hot Chicken Takeover. That's a really cool project. They're partnered with the Food Rescue US, which is a national nonprofit organization, and basically they come in and they take food that is not being used, that the restaurant's not using, and they get it to the people who need it. So that's a great thing. If we could get other restaurants to be able to do that, that would be fantastic. Utah Food Bank, Grocery Rescue, national commercial donations, government commodities, local commercial donations, food drives, private donations, things such as that. So, mental illness, substance abuse, and homelessness. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, 20 to 25% of the homeless population in the United States suffers from some sort of severe mental illness. So that's just severe mental illness. That's not encompassing all of it. And then the same administration estimates that 38% of homeless people are dependent on alcohol, and another 26% abuse other drugs. Yeah. So within our community, we would be treating mental illness as well as alcohol or substance abuse. The residents of the tiny home community, once secured in housing and regular sustenance, can begin their road to recovery. At this time, we begin working on the underlying issues, whether it be mental illness or substance abuse or both, that either put them on the streets or they acquired these things at being on the streets. Each person would be given an individualized care plan created for them by a team of compassionate professionals from several disciplines, including but not limited to medical, psychiatry, psychology, and social work. They'd be supported through the entire treatment process, and our staff social workers would ensure that no one would fall through the cracks. Treatment teams and resources. In order to make all these services available, we would need to rely heavily on practitioners who are willing to donate time and their professional expertise. We would have 2 full-time social workers available at all times, as well as support staff and volunteers. We will have to work with outside agencies such as the Utah Division of Substance Abuse and Mental Health, Hope for Utah, NAMI Utah, Project Reality, First Step House, as well as programs like Alcoholics Anonymous, just to name a few. And by building a network of connections, we'd be able to assist the residents effectively. And to wrap up, funding. Of course, we need funding for all of this, and while government grants and assistance are effective, some other ways of raising funding for the services provided by Hope for the Homeless could be having a website and social media, allowing an option for people to donate, getting the word out there. That would be one way. Also having an annual fundraiser or gala event with maybe a dance-a-thon, Shake It for Shelter, Sustenance, and Safety, kind of like how March of Dimes has an annual fun run walk type thing. Postcards, flyers to companies and business during their annual fundraising events. They can choose our organization to donate to, and then capitalizing on things such as Mental Health Awareness Month, which is in May, for other fundraising activities. So anyhow, this is my project, and I had fun researching it, and obviously lots of things I would still need to work on, but anyhow, thank you so much.